Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturning. I cut down an ornamental tree from my backyard this past winter. I thought that it was a crabapple, but I never saw any crabapples on it, and the wood is very different than any crabapple I've ever seen. But the other day I got a harebrained idea to turn a bowl in a board from this trunk. So here we go. So the wood doesn't look like any crabapple I've seen before, but if you know what it is, please let me know what this wood is, because I want to try and salvage even more out of this small trunk. But meanwhile, let's turn a bowl in a board, not a bowl from a board, but let's turn it. This past winter I cut down an ornamental tree from my backyard, probably some species of crabapple, I'm not sure. The wood is not dripping wet. I had sealed the end grain with wood glue, but did not split the pieces in half. I got a harebrained idea that one of the pieces could be a bowl embedded in a board. Recently, I have turned some square bowls. This has some of those characteristics and some others. It will be fun to see how it turns out. The wood is mounted between centers, 2-prong on the headstock and my usual live center on the tailstock. From previous experience with this wood, the sapwood is extremely prone to checks while drying. In addition, the pith is very punky on this piece. The first order business is to cut a tenon on what will be the bottom. I stop for a moment to mark for the board slice. I want the top to be below the pith, the bottom to be about 3/8 to 1/2 inch lower. This should avoid the punky pith. Other than the tenon, this is bowl gouge work. The wood is soft and peels off nicely. As the wood is exposed, I am concerned about the profile between the tenon and the edge. A cleft above the tenon helps. I decided to further minimize the tenon since I will not be turning this again after drying. My skew also helps with scraping. After reversing the bowl, I take just a couple of flattening strokes before stopping to measure the bowl diameter and transferring this to the bottom of the bowl. I then restrict my wood removal to outside of this line. Once that it gets close, I can visualize the bowl wall projecting through the flat board, then proceed to trim the top center away, leaving a post to keep the live center as long as possible. Final hollowing goes quickly with the small wet bowl, using my bowl gouge and then a round nose scraper. Then sand through the grits. The wood is dry enough to not clog up the sandpaper too quickly. I had thought that perhaps I could grab the bowl just below the board, but my biggest chuck is too big, the next smaller is too small. Where are those 3 bears? Planning a little ahead, I cut a ledge just inside the bowl portion, then I could sand again. Then give it a preliminary bath in walnut oil. After measuring the bottom thickness at the wall, the clef, and the tenon, I mount the bowl using that ledge with an expansion hold. After removing most of the excess wood, my paranoia tells me to measure again before the final shaping and scraping with the skew. Then sand the bottom and the board ends. Finally, another complete bath in walnut oil. The wood is beautiful with a very colorful grain. I'm glad I saved the trunk when I cut the tree down. I definitely want to make some items with this wood. It was fun. Regular viewers know what is coming. Thumbs up, subscribe to my website, and subscribe on YouTube. Tell your friends, comment, and ask questions. Finally, my nag. Please wear your full face shield whenever that lathe is running.